We're about to go into the second session now, and I have with me this morning my very good friend who I came to know by design. It's not by accident. I was introduced to him, by a mutual friend, a pastor friend, and since the first day that we met, he gave me a couple of his CDs, and and I was playing it in the car, and it happens that. I was listening to one of the CDs with my wife while in the car, and my wife just said, "Oh boy, you need to bring this man. We need to listen to him." So we decided that it's going to be part of the Impact Conference. This is the fifth year, and he's been with us. He's a friend. Actually, he was the one that preached at my daughter's wedding last year. He flew all the way from Ibadan, Nigeria, just to give a word of encouragement because my daughter asked that she wanted him to be the one to speak at the wedding. And he traveled all the way from Ibadan, Nigeria, to be at the occasion. He is well traveled. He's an itinerant minister, which means he traveled all over the world. I imagine how he has been able to do it. Sometimes he's in the US, the next time he's in Australia, the last time he has gone to UK, everywhere, just going everywhere. And I think it's the grace of God. The person I'm talking about is the president of the World Ablaze Mission International, and he is the founder and, of course, the overseer of the Triumphant Assembly Churches International. He is an author and is a teacher of the word. He has three R's. Oluwaseun Babaralayemi. That is one name. Then you have Oluwadabiara. Then Omodebara. So three R's. Is married to Reverend T.J. Please join me in welcoming Reverend Abbott Oduwole. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a joy to be here. Once again, it's always been a meeting I look forward to because empowering men is one of the key things we need to do in this world. Somebody said, if you can reach the men, you've reached the head and every other thing, we walk well, We were talking somewhere that blind men make it in life, deaf men make it in life, crippled men make it in life, but men with mental problem hardly make it in life. So it makes you realize that if the head is the one that has fault, there's problem everywhere. And because we men are the head, we need to make sure that we are okay and thank God for meetings that keeps on doing that. I appreciate you, Pastor Falan, your darling wife, and the entire family for the privilege and the opportunity to be here. And I'm excited. I'm here again this year. The topic this year is very, very awesome. The topic this year is great. It's synergy is and has. So I'm very excited. For the first time, we are talking about things that relate to not just the man now, but the man and his wife and the man and his marriage. Two things men always are particular about, and that is their marriage and their money. And thank God today we're talking about the synergy between the man and his wife. And I want to celebrate the first speaker. I got really, really blessed and I'm really excited because he wasn't just speaking out of information, he was also speaking out of revelation. And that is very, very awesome. So, synergy is and has. Let's start from the fact of creation. The Bible says something very funny. Genesis chapter 5 verse 2. You see, the Bible said in Genesis chapter 1 that it's not good for man to be alone. Now, God made everything. He made the sun, the moon, the plants, the animals. But then he looked back at what he had made and said, this part of it is not good. Every other thing he said was good. But he said, this part is not good. I found that very, very amazing. It gives me comfort and confidence sometimes. that even if God himself look back at his work and he said one of the things I've done is not good, then that makes it interesting to know that even if I don't get it all right sometimes, I'm still in good company with God. I don't know if that helps you too. So he looked at man and said, it's not good that man will be alone. I will make him an helpmate. So the question is, why did he say it's not good for man to be alone? Because actually, according to Genesis chapter 5, verse 2, which I found very amusing, when God made man, what he made was, how do we call this in biology? We call it hermaphrodite. Oh my God. Somebody say, are you sure? Yeah. The Bible said so that when God made man, what he made was a man and a woman together in one body. Genesis chapter 5, verse 2 said that. He said, created them male and female and called their name Adam. So, the initial Adam he made was male and female together in one body. But I guess he looked at man and he looked at, and he came to a conclusion, look, the man, Adam must have been looking at the goats, I mean, male and female, and the dog, male and female, and the cat, male and female, and the birds, male and female. I was wondering what is wrong with me. So God said, okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to separate you. I'm going to take the woman out of the man. So man was one. Genesis 5:2 said, male and female created in them. But what he now needed to do was to take the woman out of the man. That's why he made the man to sleep. And while the man was sleeping, he brought the woman out. And that makes me to jokingly say, when men say, you don't even understand women. I say, why would you understand them? You were sleeping when God was making them, you know. So man was asleep and God took the woman out of the man. Now, so when he said Genesis 2:18 says it's not good for man to be alone, actually what he said in original rendition is not good for man to be all one. You know, so he's not talking about loneliness in that sense. He's not talking about loneliness. He's talking about all one together in one body. Let's separate them. Let's move them into two different bodies. So that was what he was saying. Because you see, many a times you need to understand that to be alone does not mean to be lonely. In fact, I love to say that being lonely is not lack of affection, it's lack of direction. Let me say that again. Being lonely is not lack of affection, it's lack of direction. Because if you have direction in life, even if you are alone in a place, you are still not feeling lonely because direction is in your life. So, God now said, okay, so it's not good for man to be all one. I'm going to make two separate bodies. I'm going to separate them in that sense. So he did, and when he did, there are some parts that goes with a man, there are some parts that goes with a woman, and I believe that is why, to be sincere, we are different. Tika and I, we've also been married for 22 going to 23 years, and the first thing that happened to us when we got married was the question. I look at her one day and I say, why are you so different? And she said to me, I was about to ask you the same question. Why are you so different? And in years of marriage, we've seen that everywhere, that is a question in the mind of people. Actually, in my book that I'll be teaching a bit from, I still do, How to Make Love Last Forever, written by Tija and I, you know. We wrote the story that engineers gathered together when computer was being made. They said, okay, we're going to make computer, but the problem is, what will we call the computer? Is the computer a she or a he? And it became very confusing because almost instantly, all the female scientists said computer is a he, and all the male scientists said, no, computer is a she. And they were like, why? Okay, so both of you come and prove your point. This is what the woman said. They said computers have exactly the attribute of a man. They said, number one, to get their attention, you have to turn them on. They said, just like computers, so is man. If you want to get the attention of a man, you have to turn him on. If you want to get the attention of a computer, you have to turn them on. They said, number two, just like a man is a computer, they are meant to solve the problem, but most of the time, they are often the problem themselves. Then they said, number three, soon after getting one computer, you discover that if you had waited a little bit, you could have gotten a better version. You understand that? Maybe the Pro or the Max, you know. But the men said, well, no, computer is a shame because, number one, nobody but the maker understands how they function. Number two, even your slightest mistake is stored in the long-term memory. They say that's how it is with computer. That is how it also is with a woman. They said number three, soon after you get one, you are happy, then you discover you have to borrow money to buy the accessories. Okay? So, I mean, as funny as that is, it just comes to prove the point that indeed male and female created them, but he separated them, and then they went with different personalities. Number one, I'm going to quickly mention from the book seven major differences between men and women. If I can, if my time is running out, I'll stop at some point. The book is available. I'm going to leave some with the church so that you can pick it if you find it interesting. So, major differences. And I mean, and if you listen to the last speaker, you will notice there are more than seven. There are several differences. I'm just going to pick a bit of the seven major differences I have in the book. Number one is that men are work-oriented and women are home-oriented. It's very interesting that the first thing that a man's mind is wired towards is his work before his home. A woman, the home before the work. That is might be because when God made man, the first thing God gave man was work without wife, before wife. Did you get that? God gave him work before wife. So that might be why. But when a woman woke up, the first thing a woman woke up to is a man. It's relationship. So you notice, for example, that when men think, they think work first. Everything about them is their work. That is why. If marriage is not working and work is working, the man is excited. But for a woman, no matter how beautiful work is, if marriage is not working, they are not very excited, because they were wired differently. Men, for some reason, seem to always believe that, well, I'm a creature of work. So men are work-oriented, women are home-oriented. I love to say that as I travel around the world, I discover that men never hardly forget a complimentary card. But women always, always forget, because there's something about them, they're particular about the marriage. They will forget the picture of their kids and all that, and the difference is very clear. Number two, men by nature enjoy the promise, women the process. This is a very major one. Men by nature enjoy the promise. For the man, the thing is the end product. So the man is looking forward to, okay, so what's the end? How do we get to the end? Let's get it, the promise fixed. But for a woman, it's the process. That is why, when I was a student in UI, I discovered how to cook beans very perfectly. You just take the beans, the pepper, the salt, the oil, the seasoning, this everything. You put it in, you go play football, you come back after 45 minutes, your beans is done. Then I got married to this lovely lady that we first of all pick all the nutrients out of the beans. I hope you get what I'm saying. Then she'll wash the beans. Then she'll put ordinary water on fire. Then she'll go and come back. Then go to wash the beans into the water. Then go and come back to taste if it's soft. Then go and come back to taste if it's softer. Then go and come back to taste if she can put the pepper. Then she'll go and come back and put salt. And go and come back and put seasoning. And go and come back and put the oil. And go, oh my word. And she's done. She says to me, I'm too tired. I can't eat. I said, why will you be able to eat? Is this the way to go? But you see, women enjoy the process. That is why, like the last speaker said, I believe God made sure it's women that gets pregnant. Because if it is men, abortion will have been legalized long ago. Because the man will just say, look, I have a football match next week, so remove this pregnancy and we take another one next month. You know what I'm talking about? But a woman is excited as the tummy is coming on and all that. I remember when my wife was pregnant with our children, once in a while, she won't be able to sleep because she tries to sleep on one side. It's not easy on the other side. I'll be snoring. Then all of a sudden, she will eat me. I used to think it was by mistake. It was later on she confessed that she deliberately used to eat me like, that was Zerubbabel that started this work. You complete it now. This is a joint venture. But men are wired for promise, and it affects everything, including sex. As far as a man is concerned, it's like I used to say in Africa, the old man will say, Mama Clara, come, lie down. A woman is not like that. A woman wants the process, and that is very, very important. Let me jump some because of time. Another one is very important is that a man's greatest need is assertion, a woman's greatest need is protection. I need to say this again. What a man needs most is assertion. A man wants somebody that'll tell them, man, you are good, you are strong, you are a real man, you have power. Men love assertion. They love to be praised. They love to be celebrated. A man wants to be assertive and asserted. A man wants to be able to say in his home, sit down, and people sit down, stand up, and they stand up. That's the greatest need of a man. And I tell married women that many a times what adulterous woman uses against you is the way they honor your husband. That won't last for long, though. If the men are wise, they'll know that once the woman becomes permanent from side chick to permanent chick, that seems to stop. But you see, men loves to be asserted. But women, on the other hand, want to be protected. They love it. They love to be sure that my husband will protect me. My husband will stand by me. Somebody say, women. Somebody was telling me, say, women don't like you if you don't have money. I said, even you yourself, do you like yourself when you don't have money? I said, but you see, for a woman, money is protection. It gives them a sense of protection, and that is very, very important. Another one is that men are rational, but women are emotional. I need to say that again. Men are rational, women are emotional. For a man, 2 plus 2 is always 4. For a woman, it could be 4 today, then 22 tomorrow, depending on her mood, depending on the situation, depending on what she's going through, depending on the time of the month. So a woman is emotional. A young guy called me after he got married and said, Reverend, I'm having a problem with my wife. I said, what's the problem? He said, can you imagine, do you know what my wife does when she's sad, annoyed? I said, yeah, she cries, okay? So when she's annoyed, she cries. Do you know what she does when she's sad? I said, yeah, she cries. He said, yeah, how do you know? I said, no, I know. It's okay, you won't guess this. Do you know what my wife does when she's very happy? I said, she cries. The guy said, yeah, that's what I'm wondering. How can she be crying even when she's happy? I said, that's a woman. A woman cries. In fact, sometimes a woman will cry. You say, why are you crying? I don't know why I'm crying. But man, a man better knows why he's crying. If a man is crying, we say, why are you crying? He say, I don't know. We cast the devil out of him. So women are emotional by nature. Men are rational. I wish I have time to explain to you how this works practically, but don't. It's on the book though. The thing is that, for example, let me give an example here. When you want to talk to a woman, stop talking too much rational, move to emotional. What I mean by that is this. A man called me and said, Reverend, you told us to buy gifts for our wives. I said, yeah. He said, I bought my wife a brand new car. It is Jaguar. It's red color. It is 8 cylinders. It is automatic brake system. It is auto pipes. As he was talking, I was saying, yeah, that's powerful. He said, my wife said she doesn't want. I said, what? She said she doesn't want. Yeah, why? He said, I don't know. I said, how did you tell her about the car? The way you are telling me, he said, yeah. I said, you are the one that made a mistake. He said, would you have told her? I told him what to do. I said, call and say, honey, it's our 10th anniversary, and I've been thinking of what I can give you. I thought of food, but that we end up in the toilet. I thought of a good dress. That'll be beautiful for a while, then it will lose value. And while I was thinking, I thought of this car. It's Jaguar. Just like you are the king of my life and you make me to Aurora, that is how that car is. And you see, it's red color, just like you stand out in my life. That car stands out in the car park. And it's automatic brake system, just like you put a brake to my life and you don't allow me to do wrong. That is exactly how that car is. It's power steering. Just like you have the power and that steers my life in the right direction. Before he finished, the lady said, bring the car, bring the car, bring the car. What is the difference? Same man, same woman, same car, same scenario. But now the man had moved it from rational to emotional. The same thing I say to women. When you're talking to your man, stop talking too much emotional. Don't call your man and say, I had a dream and that the school the children are going to is not good. I don't feel they should go there again. Let's move them. Especially in a country like Nigeria, the man will look at you and laugh and say, what's your problem? You had too much yesterday. You are now dreaming that you should move to children's school. Nonsense. Because the man is not rational. I've discovered in over 22 decades of marriage that a woman's intuition is sometimes stronger than a man's reasoning. But notwithstanding, the man wants to be rational. I told a lady like that, I said, what you do to your husband, number one, go and look for a better school. Number two, try and find out if some of his friends' kids are there. This number 3 is very important. Try and be sure it's cheaper. Because there is one magic word every man wants to hear. It's cheaper. It's a magic word. When the man hears cheaper, the anointing comes upon him. I'm telling you, you try it. So when you call the man and you say, honey, I just found a better school for the kids. And some of your friends' kids are even there. And you know what? It's even cheaper. When the man hears cheaper, we say, move the kids since yesterday. I'm just trying to say to you that women are emotional and men are rational. Um, this one is very important. Men are movers and women are multipliers. Oh my word, this is powerful. Men move, women multiply. I wrote in this book, I said, whatever you move towards a woman, she multiplies. That is why the word woman itself, some wicked people say it means woe unto man. No, it means man with a womb. It's that womb that makes her different. It was when God made Eve out of Adam, and Adam woke up and saw her, and Adam looked at her and said, wow, another man, a better man, a beautiful man. Yeah, a man with a womb man. That's what we call woman, sir. The truth of the matter is that a woman has a womb, but what does a womb do? The function of a womb is to multiply. So whatever you move towards the direction of a woman, she multiplies for you. You move groceries towards her, you get a meal. You move her an empty house, you get a home. You give unto her spermatozoa, you get a baby. You give unto her peace, she multiplies it and give you more. You give her joy, she multiplies it and give you more. You give her trouble, it's coming back to you, pressed down, shaking together, running over in abundance. Because a woman is definitely a multiplier. So many times, one of the things we discover is that opposites like that always attract. It's not only the law of magnetism, it's also the law of life. I mean, in this book that I talked about how to now undo those differences. You know, one of the things I discovered, so let me say this very quickly. When God separated us then, to get the best out of life, we need to hook up together again. I'm telling you sincerely. That is why I love the word synergy in the theme of this conference. Because for us to get the desired result, synergy is needed. The man needs to reconnect back to the woman and be back to what God made them exactly. That is why in Matthew 19, when they asked Jesus Christ a question on marriage, the first thing he said is in the beginning it was not so. So whenever we go back to the beginning and we synergize, we get the desired result. You know, Proverbs 27 verse 17 says, iron will sharpen iron, and the countenance of a man will sharpen that of his friend. So the plan and purpose of God, when opposites attract, is at the end of the day we will sharpen one another. So what one lacks, the other is got. When the other is got, that one lack. But when we bring it together, we get the desired result. You can imagine how beautiful it will be when the man brings his rational and the woman brings her emotion. Oh my God, it's going to be awesome. And you see, because men and women don't understand this, it makes them to fight where they are meant to synergize and be happy with one another. Now, let me say this to you very quickly. One of the common things I hear from men is that when their wife says, you don't even love me. And you see, when a man hears that, he just goes crazy. Because the man is thinking of the sacrifices, of the days, the beautiful words he had said, of how he had tried to prove. The man goes rational immediately, not knowing that the woman is expressing an emotional statement. When the woman says, you don't love me, she's not saying you've never loved me. The woman is saying, right now, I'm not feeling loved. It's just an emotional statement. But the man will now start to try to prove a point. I said something that have gone viral about my, as a pastor. I said it took me years to learn this very simple, very simple thing, that don't bother counseling women. Oh, the first time I said that in my church, people were like, what? How can you say that? I said, yeah, don't counsel women again. I spent over 20 years of my life wasted counseling women. I don't counsel women again. So what do? I just let them talk. When a woman comes to me and says, Reverend, I have a problem, I say, in fact, you can't imagine what happened to me. The other day, so we're going, and after a while, in fact, now I know what to do. You know? Because if you allow a woman to talk, she will talk the solution to the situation, because the statements initially are emotional statements. So for me as a young husband, being rational, when my wife says things like, you don't love me, oh my word, I mean, rational being, I tried to prove 7.5 points why you should know I love you. You see, it's in the midst of saying that you even enter into more trouble, you know. Say, how do you mean I don't love you? The other time I bought you a car, then the other time, say, oh, so you're now counting all the things that you have been doing for me. I say, no, I'm just trying to let you know, oh, you're now shouting. Oh, so you have to say sorry. So me, I've learned that my wife says you don't love me. I'll just say, I'm sorry. From today, I'll be loving you. You see, one sorry will have cured it. But if you try to go rational, you will say 10 sorry. So it's very important for you to understand that men are rational, women are emotional, and you need to find a way to make that work. So how do you handle these differences? Number one, accept the fact that you're all unique and different from one another. Accept that. If the whole world is just women, everything will be funny. If the whole world is just men, it will be very interesting. So it's very interesting that God deliberately made us to be different. So stop complaining that you are different. Start annexing the benefit of your differences. Another thing I mentioned there is don't abuse the differences. Use it. Don't abuse it. Use it. I love to say that a good synergy in marriage is between a man that can give away his life and a woman that has super glue in her hand, that whatever she touches does not move. Because if both of you are givers, we'll get there one day and say, where are the children? And you say, Reverend, it's the neighbors who, they've been married for 20 years, they don't have children, so we decide to give our children to them. But when one wants to give the children, the other one will say, you are not giving my children. A good synergy in marriage sometimes between a man that says, if the light is on, I can't sleep, and a woman that says, if the light is off, I can't sleep. I'm trying to make you to realize that either you like it or not, don't abuse it, use it. My wife and I have learned how to use our synergy. Like Pastor said, I'm traveling, I'm everywhere. I mean, everywhere, literally. This year had been a Sabbath for me. My wife said she believes that one of the reasons for COVID is that God looked at me and pitied me and said, this boy, before you run out of time, I'm going to lock you down for a while for you to take a rest and recuperate. So, but interestingly, I'm not as a good thinker as my wife. She's a strategic thinker. So she, for example, I just noticed after I got married to her, she never forgets anything. I mean, when we're going on a trip, I get her to discover I forgot my belt, I forgot my toothbrush, she never forgets anything. Ask her, how do you do that? She said, well, I just imagine when I'm packing, that when we get there, we'll brush, so she'll pick brush, then we'll take a batch, she picks her. I said, wow. I said, I can't do that. Write it for me, please. So she wrote for me everything I needed to carry on a trip. And up to now, if you open my phone, I have a special file there for the things I need for a trip. I'm trying to say we can use the synergy. I'm a dreamer. I love to start new things. But after a while, it starts to become boring for me. So my wife had discovered that. So what I do is I start and leave it to her. So when I'm starting something, she's laughing and saying, I know this is your problem. It's coming to me later on. This thing, yeah, she's the chief of staff of our organization with about almost 100 staffs, and she manages everything well. When people ask me some questions and I say, you got to ask her, they wonder, are you not the head of the organization? I say, yeah, but she's the neck of the organization. She makes the head rotate very well. So I'm trying to make you realize that we're different and we need to manage it in synergy. Another thing is that both parties must make adjustments. Don't expect that, well, that is how women are, madam, just align. Oh, that's how we women are. My husband just, no. Both of us must make an adjustment. That's where the synergy comes in, and on and on and on. So having said that, as I start to round up, how do we make synergy work? I'm going to do it with the word synergy itself. Number one, the S. Seek to maximize the differences. Sit down and say, how do we maximize these differences? I have a couple in my church years ago that had problem with raising kids. The woman felt the man was too tough, and the man felt the wife was too lenient. I told them, I said, you can maximize this difference. I said, let your wife handle normal discipline, but when it's getting tough, let her call you to take over. That's how to maximize the synergy. You've got to maximize the differences. Many a times, especially in an African home, the mom talks a bit and say, stop that, stop that. Then the dad will just speak one word, stop that. You understand that? But I said, when the man started to say, stop that, stop that, stop that, you are missing the point. The purpose of that synergy is so that when your wife has done what she does, years ago I discovered that we were always going late to church. And I was like, why are you lady making us look late to church? So one day he occurred to me to follow my wife around the house and find out why. I was shocked. Number one, we had two girls then. We didn't have my son then. To even wake the two girls up takes about 15 to 20 minutes. Wake up, honey. Oh, mommy, now I'm tired. Sorry, sweetie pie. This is how time is gone. I told my wife, don't worry. Me, I'll be waking them up. So when I wake up, I go to their room. Hey, guys, wake up, wake up. Daddy, now. You're up. Let's go, let's go. You see, you can't seek to maximize your differences. So stop complaining about the differences. Maximize it. There are things right now that my wife will say she won't even bother about. I need to handle that because that is a place where I have difference. Number two, the why, synergy, the why. Yearn to please and pleasure one another. I do a love clinic on Instagram and Facebook every Friday for 1 p.m. Eastern time now, 8 p.m. Nigerian time. And I just made a statement one day that went viral, and everybody started saying, wow, they never thought of it like that before. And it's a simple statement that the word love itself is a desire to pleasure. That's all. That's what love is. Love is just a desire to pleasure. So if you're going to synergize, what will make it work is that you yearn to please and pleasure one another. You see, if that is the foundation of the synergy, then there is no selfishness. The opposite of the word love, especially in the Bible, is not hatred. Because the Bible expects a believer cannot hate. So the opposite of the word love in the Bible is selfishness. But you see, when there is a desire, a yearning to please and pleasure, then you can be sure that definitely the synergy is working together. HEN is network for common good. Network for common good. If there is no purpose in the relationship, then there is no common good. So, one of the things that makes synergy work for my wife and I particularly is because there is a common good. We are trying. So, if she says, the way you raise the children, okay, for example, I'll give a very practical example. Like you all know, I travel a lot. And the kids they're perfect psychologists. When my kids were young, they knew that. They knew that if you ask mommy, you might not get it. If you ask daddy, you will get it. So what they've asked their mom, maybe I brought some chocolates, and they go into their mom, mommy, can I have chocolate? No, you've had enough, you can't take chocolate. Then they'll come to me, daddy. And girls, girls, they're the most manipulative of your children. They look at you one kind, say, daddy, can I have chocolate? I said, by all means, why did I buy them? Go and eat it. Then my wife will be like, why did you allow them? That is not fair. I said, look, I just can't say no. But one day we sat down together. I said, now, let me explain this to you. You are with them all the time. I'm not. So when I am around and I start to deprive them of things, it won't work. It won't be the best. So please allow me once in a while to. Then she said, yeah, but we are trying to raise them also. We must put boundaries. So once we were able to come to the common ground that the most important thing is these kids needs to get life better, we were able to synergize better. So you need to find out what's the common good. Why are we talking about it? I don't know if this happened to you before, but I'm traveling and I find the bread, especially in Nigeria, and there is a delicacy called suya. Oh, you Canadians don't know suya, So I'll buy bread, I'll buy suya, and you see the marriage of bread and suya is made in heaven. So I'm already salivating, then I get home, and my wife sees bread and say, praise God, we have something to eat tomorrow. Tomorrow? Did you tell me to buy bread? Did you ask me to buy bread? I have planned that this bread, that's a destiny that must be fulfilled tonight. My wife says, no, I've been thinking about what we're going to eat tomorrow. So when you brought the bread, it must be God that revealed it to you. I said, no, it is Tommy that revealed this one to me. It is a marriage made in heaven with suya. But you see, invariably we have to come to a conclusion. The common good is the most important thing. We want to have a good time and the family to be taken care of. So it's very, very important. And that will help you. Pastor was talking the other time about pressure. That's also very important. We don't have time in this meeting to talk about what we call love languages. But I mean, one of my wife's love languages is service. When I do things for her, she's very excited. So I learned that when I'm home, I make sure I'm the one that do the breakfast, especially on a Saturday morning. Well, don't look at me as if that is always the case, but once in a while, how what I do is not like I cook it, I arrange it together, the hot dog, the baked beans, and all that. But I try to make sure that is there. Then I try to do the dishes. But one day she came to me and said, I don't want you to be doing these dishes again. I said, why? She said, this is Nigeria. Some church members will come now. They will see you doing dishes. They will go and tell people, the Reverend is suffering. If you see what his wife is putting him through. The other time I go there, the wife was watching TV. Reverend was watching, please. Can you imagine that? I told her, I said, listen. Why are we even doing what we're doing? I need to communicate your love language. I need to see my son. I need to teach my son that being in the kitchen is not an anathema. I need to let my daughters know that you are not a slave. You are married to a partner that does his share of the work. Once we can agree on the common good, the synergy flows. So number one, like I said, yes, it was seek to maximize the differences. The wives yearn to please and pleasure. Once the other party knows that the ultimate of this is to pleasure, it makes it easy. The end is network for common good. Engage communication skills. This is absolutely important. You see, many a times between is and has, it's not what is said that is the problem. It's how it is said. Remember when I was talking about the major difference between a man and a woman? A man wants assertion. A man wants to be respected. So in the midst of that, a man wants you to say, to respect him. There is a way you communicate it. So communication is key. They asked Edwin Cole of blessed memory. They said, Edwin Cole, what's the three most important things about relationship? Edwin Lewis Cole said the three most important things about a relationship: number one is communication, number two is communication, number three is communication. Those are the three most important things about a relationship: communication, communication, communication. But you see, for there to be communication, then we need to go back to the root word of the word communication. Is from the Latin word communis. Communis means to have something in common. So for us to synergize, we must find common ground. Very, very important. A lady said to me and said, my husband does not talk. I said, no. You've not found what your husband loves to talk about. Simple. There is no man that does not talk. There are some of them that won't talk politics. But when they are talking, Arsenal beating Man U, Kayikata, you will know he can talk. There are some men that don't talk until you mention Donald Trump. Oh, then you know they can talk. There are some men that don't talk until you mention vantage cars. We were in London, my wife and I, for vacation several years ago, and a guy was there, and then we started talking about old songs in Nigerian schools, and this guy was shouting and screaming. And we just noticed his wife was very quiet. So after a while, I look at the wife and say, you're so quiet. He said, yes, I've never seen my husband this excited before. He does not talk. I said, no, there are things people talk about. Let me shock you. This is very interesting. I've studied the word love in Greek because the Bible is written in Greek, not English, not Yoruba, not Igbo, not French. It's Greek. And the problem in English is that the word love is just one word. So you say, I love my cat, I love my dog, I love my wife, I love my job, I love my iPhone. It's all love. But in Greek, it's different. If you love your family, it's called phileo. Okay? If you love your wife, it's called eros. If you love God kind of love, it's called agape. Okay? If you love your friend, so when the Bible says, wife, love your husband, is saying wives become friends to your husband. Not even eros. It's become friends. And for you to become friends with somebody, you must find common ground. So communication skills is very important. And I mentioned it briefly the other time that there are love languages. There are about 5 of them, giving gifts, words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time. You've got to be able to discern what's the love language of this person. That is very important. Then in communication, one of the laws I say to people is don't be abused, especially women and men. Don't be abusive. Don't abuse one another. You know, one man was trying to abuse his wife. They had a fight, so they were driving. Then they saw some goats. And the man wanted to abuse her. I said, look at them. Those are your relatives. Was waiting to see what the wife would say. The wife said, of course, by marriage. They are my in-laws. So it's very important for us not to be abusive. You see, the Bible says that Jesus is coming for his bride, which is the church. And he said the church has no spot or blemish. I mean, I pitied him. I said, if this is your wife, I say, no, this one has spot or blemish. This one that up Jesus Assembly is fighting down Satan church. You are saying without spot and blemish. How can you say that there and discover why? He said, because I'm washing it with the washing of the water by the word. Your wife will not be perfect, but you need to keep on washing your wife. Your husband will not be perfect, you need to become washing him. But listen to this. The water you use to wash will determine if they will be clean or dirty. So if you keep on using dirty water to wash your partner, invariably they get dirtier and not better. Then ladies are more prone to this, using always, ever, never, because of emotions. So you never take me out. You are always coming late. No, there is no absolute most of the time. You never take me out. The guy is thinking, so once you say you never take me out, he's not thinking of the fact that it's true, I should take you out more. He's trying to prove that there are 3 times in the last 20 years he took you out. That was, you see, the balance, because men are rational. Is like, I never took you out. The other time, when I discovered that it's an African restaurant, in Brampton. Did I not take you there? Did I not take you there? So that's what you are saying. But you say I never. So I tell people, try to learn not to use absolute words. Then the G, grow into maturity. Listen to what I'm about to say now, because it's very important. All men grow more, but not all men grow up. If you get that difference, you get the difference between maturity and just existing. So you need to mature, grow into maturity. There are things I used to argue about with my wife. I do argue about them any longer. Now, I'm going to give you an example. Oh, my word, I'm going to enter into trouble if my wife sees this, but it's true. One day we were talking in the house, and I designed it to be, we have what I call honeymoon suite upstairs. Just me and her stays there. The rest of everybody's down in 2 compartments. So we were talking in the kitchen, and I went up. And she started looking for me. She couldn't find me. And then when she saw me, she was annoyed. She said to me, you just disappeared. You just left and all that. You didn't even tell me you were leaving. Oh, I said, I quickly needed to pick something up. She said, that's not the case. The case is that you didn't tell me you were leaving. Rational man. I started explaining, but we don't normally tell one another that we are living when we are in the same house. So if I'm going to that, I'm going to tell her. If I'm going to, you don't tell me that. I say, no, I'm telling you this is wrong. Well, there is no reason. So I said, okay. So I started counting. So one time we were talking, then she left to the children's room. I said, hey, I caught you. You didn't tell me you were leaving. Then another time, hey, I caught you. You see, that is immaturity. You don't argue about things like that because you know, it's because she needed me at that time that it was an issue. Every other time she didn't need me, it was not an issue. And there might never be an issue about it again. So wisdom is that you grow into maturity. Why? Finally, you yield to God as the ultimate. Let me say this to you very quickly. God is the one that said it's not good for man to be alone. God is the one that separated the male from the female. I tell you sincerely before God that it is only God that can give us the blueprint for marriage. You see, I read something very funny years ago about how a man was driving and his car had a fault and it was in front of one big house and he was trying to fix it and he couldn't fix it. So in those days, there were very few mechanics. So he sent his son to go look for the mechanic, to bring the mechanic. One man walked up to him and said, can I help you with this car? He said, no, my mechanic is coming, don't touch it. Of course, there were very few cars in those days. Then the man went. After like an hour, the man came back, can I help you with this car? I said, no, don't touch my car. Then my son had gone for the mechanic. After the 3rd hour, the man came and said, excuse me, let me help you with this car. He said, are you a mechanic? The man said, no, but your car is Ford and my name is Henry Ford. He's the maker of the car. many a times that is what we need to know about God. He's the maker and the author of marriage. So he's the one that started it. He's the one you need to talk to. He's the one that's going to help you to fix everything. I'm sure you've been blessed. Once again, what we've discussed today is a man and woman were together. God separated them because it's not good for man to be all one that we call alone. When he separated them, some part went with the men, some went with the women. And because of that, we're basically different. But for us to get the best out of life, we need to synergize again. Our differences are there, but our accomplishment and achievement is in the fact that we synergize again. And we said the word synergy has for seek to maximize the difference. Why? For yearn to please and pleasure one another, and for network for common good, E for engage communication skills, R for revisit revisit fundamentals. So in everything you need to go back to the fundamentals. Why am I like this? Why am I doing this? Why did God give the man the strength? Is to protect his wife and not to be abusive to the wife. Very important. Revisit the fundamentals. Why are we doing what we're doing? Why are we traveling? Because some people, when you travel sometimes, for example, my wife and I had this argument for years about traveling. Something very simple. It will so shock you that what couple are fight about are not major things. When we travel, I want my room cleaned every day. I want the people in the hotel to come clean. My wife feels that why she can clean. I'm like, look, the reason why we came here is so that you can rest. No, but let me do this now. And it's not even. So we used to argue about. Until one day we said, excuse me, why do we even go on vacation? To remove stress. So why do we carry stress with ourselves? So number one, we should not argue about things like this again. Number two, if you want to do it, so we don't argue about it again. So revisit the fundamentals, grow into maturity, yield to God as the ultimate. I'm going to leave some materials on marriage with the church if you want. I still do. It's the one I taught from, but this very interesting one. I love my spouse, but for about 20 years, I've seen people say to me, I love my wife, but I love my husband, but. So what do you do with the but? This is the one for mathematics. Not mathematics, mathematics. It's a formula for marrying right. You know, I wrote it because a lot of people, I said in the book, if you marry right, you have a prayer partner. You marry wrong, you have a prayer point. So one thing is sure, you always have prayer, but it can be prayer point or prayer partner. Then I have two CDs here, multiple message. One is just titled Relationship Series, but the other one is very important. It's called Matrimony. Matrimony, the balance between romance and finance. No honey, no money, no honey. How do you manage and navigate that? So I have about 10 messages here on matrimony. Not matrimony, but matrimony, the balance between romance and finance. I believe you've been blessed. And I pray and declare that God will give you the spirit to help you maximize the differences and to use it well and to synergize for common good. So will it be in Jesus' name. Amen. Praise God.